commitments to yourself. In my own life, I've had to make these commitments personally. Many of you were at conference and you remember me sharing about the embarrassment of going through a divorce and being in my mid-30s and not expecting to be divorced with no kids at that age, but I had a very clear vision of what I thought my life would be, and it included marriage and family. And even though I had that setback, I learned these 5 commitments at that time. Because I realized that when you land in a ditch, when you have a disappointment, the most important thing you can do is talk to yourself in the right way. The most successful women think differently. So here's the first thing I want you to remember, and it's a commitment you have to make. I will not feel sorry for myself. Very simple, but some of us are very, very good at throwing pity parties. Anyone really good at throwing pity parties? Yeah, I mean, we can just get down in the dumps, and sometimes it's almost like we relish the pity party. I mean, the more we think about it and how bad things are, it's like somehow we get something out of it and just, look at me, look at how bad this really is. I told you this wouldn't work for me, and I don't know what it is we think we get out of it, except that now we have an excuse not to keep moving forward. Are y'all with me on this? I'm not trying to beat you up. But what I want you to ask yourself whenever you find yourself disappointed is, am I going to get up or am I going to give up? And what's your answer?
Get up.
Get up. I hope it's get up. Some of you are like, about that for a minute, Valorie. The answer is get up, okay? The answer is get up. The most successful people just keep going. It doesn't mean they don't stop and catch their breath. It doesn't mean they don't cry. It doesn't mean they're not upset. It doesn't mean they're not disappointed. It means they get back up and they keep moving forward. So number 1, I will not feel sorry for myself. But number 2 is I will not stare at the closed door. I will not stare at the closed door. Now, what I mean by that is that very often when things have not gone the way we had hoped, we stare at this closed door and we talk about either the way things used to be or what we had hoped they would be, and therefore we don't turn around and face forward and look at the opportunities that are right in front of us. And so you have to be asking yourself constantly, what would it look like if I were to face forward? What would it look like if I took the next step forward, even though my knees are shaking, even though I'm disappointed, even though things haven't quite gone according to plan? What would it look like for me to take one more step forward? Because here's what I know. If you just keep moving forward, eventually you will get to your finish line. Are y'all with me on that? So what's the next step? What is it? You have to be able to stop, pause, take a breath, and coach yourself with that question. Here's number 3. I will dig deep to unearth all the courage I need. I'll dig deep to unearth all the courage I need. Success always takes courage, and especially when we find ourselves feeling like, oh, I've lost another team member, or this didn't go the way I thought, we have to say, you know what? Starting over for me is not an option. So oftentimes, what we realize is the reason that we have to keep starting over and starting something new is because we keep giving up. But it takes courage for us to instead say, how do I keep moving forward? I learned a really big lesson about courage growing up in Colorado. I unfortunately was not a skier. People always think people from Colorado ski, but a lot of us just didn't ski. It's like people from Florida that never go to the beach, you know what I mean? You kind of just take it for granted. But anyway, this particular weekend, I went skiing with a friend and my dad, and so we went skiing. And I love to tell this story because it's so visual and it's so ridiculous. I didn't know at that time how to ski well, so we took lessons. And in taking lessons, one of the first things they teach you, does anybody know? How to stop. How to fall is a good idea. It's a good idea to know how to fall because the skis are big. If you don't know how to fall, it can be a real disaster. So they taught us how to fall, taught us a few things. Took a couple of hours. Finally, my friend Christy and I went up to the slopes. We were about to get on the ski lift, and as we got on the ski lift, I started wondering, what was that part about how to get off the ski lift? You know, if you're going to get on the ski lift, it's a good idea to know how to get back off of the ski lift. You understand what I mean? And so we're riding along on the ski lift, and we're behind some kids. They're like 12 or 13 years old, and they don't have a care in the world. I mean, they're telling jokes, they're laughing, and Christy and I are like, now what did they say? Is there going to be a push? What's going to happen? And so I thought, I don't really know. And so we got to that point where we were supposed to get up. Christy got up. And the ski lift smacked her in the rear end, and she just kind of tumbled down the hill, okay? And she did it loudly. I mean, like she was having fun. It was like, ah! And people stop skiing and they're looking at us. But look, I didn't get off the lift. I just looked on at amazement, okay? Because she was making noise. I thought, you know what? I think I'm just gonna have to stay on the lift. Obviously, I'm not supposed to ski down this particular mountain today. And now I will just take the ride of shame back down the mountain. And I was bracing myself for that. People were stopping and they started yelling. Let me tell you something. Sometimes people just need to mind their own business. You know what I mean? Because they were yelling, stop the lift. And I was thinking, no, I don't want to stop the lift. And sure enough, the ski lift operator stopped the lift. And he walks over to me, and now everyone, I don't know, probably 100 people have stopped to watch the show. And he comes over to me like this is no big deal, like he does it every day, and he puts his hands up like this, and he goes, jump. I said, that's okay. I'm prepared to just take my ride of shame down the mountain. It's okay, just go back to ski. He said, no, just jump. I got you. And then I realized he was not going to give up. He had decided he would stay there until I jumped. It didn't matter how much I convinced him that I didn't mind riding back down the mountain. He was like, no, just jump. I got you. Just jump. Just jump. So I just closed my eyes and I jumped. And would you believe? He caught me. Now, I tell you that story because oftentimes our fear causes us to hesitate. I had not gotten off the lift because I was expecting the lift to kind of go, get up, Valerie, it's time, get up. I thought there was going to be some sort of a push, and there wasn't. But listen, ladies, oftentimes we have a false start. Sometimes things don't go the way we had hoped. But the question is, will you just jump? Will you just try again? It's one of the things I love about this business is that you get a chance every single week to just try again. And your job is to say, okay, what did I learn from this? I learned some things from the ski lift. Just get up. Even if you tumble, look, Christy tumbled, she looked ridiculous, but you know what? She got off the lift. And sometimes you have to get out of your perfectionism and be willing to look silly and be willing to risk not feeling confident. And you have to be willing for people to stare at you and laugh at you and whatever it is that looks like. But just get up. Are y'all with me on this? Yeah, and that takes courage. And I believe each and every one of you has it, but you have to practice it. And by coaching yourself every single day, you have an opportunity to take an action you haven't taken before and come back, regroup, and then just ask yourself, what was the lesson in that? What was I supposed to learn? So the fourth commitment I want you to make is this: I will direct my thoughts. My thoughts will not direct me. I will direct my thoughts will not direct me. At the core of resilience, at the core of being able to bounce back is your ability to notice your thoughts and to decide which ones to keep and which ones to let go of. Some of you do something that psychologists call catastrophizing. Catastrophizing, you already can kind of guess what that is. That's when you go from 0 to everybody's dead in about 10 seconds. And it's something really, really simple that happened, right? Your sister didn't show up for coffee, it's only been 5 minutes, and you already have her dead in a ditch. Y'all know what I'm talking about. And some of you all do this in your business. You've reached out to someone, you've asked them to host a party, you've presented the business opportunity to them, they didn't respond right away, and you already have them cutting you off your friends list, you're checking your Facebook, did they unfriend me, do they just not like me anymore? I mean, we catastrophize about things, and it causes us to worry to the point that we're actually ineffective, and we become paralyzed. Here's the question I want you to ask yourself. And it's so, so important. Is this thought helping me or is it hurting me? If the thought's helping you, keep it. If it's moving you forward, keep it. If it's causing you to feel more courageous, keep it. And if the thought is hurting you, if it's sabotaging you, if it causes you to lose confidence, replace it. And I would encourage each and every one of you, the doubts that come most often, write them all down. Like, admit them. Say them out loud, even the really ridiculous thoughts that you have. And then be very intentional about finding that thought that's going to replace it. The one that's more empowering. The one that causes you to feel on your A game. You know those times when you're on your A game. Anyone been on their A game in the last month? You had something really good happen? I want you to go back, look at those times, and say, what was it that caused that? What did I do differently? Who was supporting me? So that you can repeat the things that work. So you want to direct your thoughts, but don't allow your thoughts to direct you. Be very intentional about noticing what you're saying to yourself. And that, again, causes you to stop, pause, take a breath, and pay attention. This is powerful stuff. If you'll practice it even just for a few minutes a day, you will see yourself changing your thoughts. And when you change your thoughts, you change your level of success. All of us have fears. I don't even believe anyone's fearless. But what I do believe is that some people choose to be more courageous than others. And one of the ways you choose to be courageous is you're constantly asking yourself, what am I thinking? Well, what if that did happen? And how would I handle it? Because there's a lot of stuff you were afraid of that has actually come true. But since you're still here, I know you handled it. Are y'all with me on that? Remind yourself of the courage you've had before, and you can repeat it in the future. But here's commitment number 5. I choose to believe all things work together for good. I choose to believe all things work together for good. That's not that everything that happens that's good, because there's bad stuff that happens. But the question is, are you going to get something out of it? Coach yourself with this question: will I be better, or will I be bitter? Will I use the bad stuff to kind of stack up my excuses for why I can't have what I want, for why I can't reach the vision? Or will I say, in spite of it, I'm going to keep moving forward? Are y'all with me on this? So I want you to remember 5 commitments. I saw y'all writing them down. But commitment number 1, I will not feel sorry for myself. Stop throwing the pity party. And some of you need to gather up your really resilient girlfriends so that they can help you stop having the pity party, right? And let go of the ones that throw the pity party for you, because you do have some of those friends. Oh, poor thing, I told you it wouldn't work. I did. I know. Go ahead and cry. I understand. I'd cry if I were you too. Let those friends go, okay? All right? I will not feel sorry for myself. I will not stare at the closed door. I will dig deep to unearth all the courage I need. And I will direct my thoughts. My thoughts will not direct me. And I choose to believe all things work together for good. Successful women think differently. Start paying attention to what you're saying to yourself. Choose the thoughts that move you forward and let go of the ones that sabotage you. Good night.